Hey, and good morning, everybody. This is Pastor Sherman Ray, and this is Christian American Magazine. I want to thank you all for being a part of the broadcast this morning. I hope everybody's doing well this morning. Just making sure all of my levels are just fine. It seems like, we haven't done the show in quite a while, and so sometimes you just have these glitches and everything else. So I want to welcome you all to the broadcast this morning. Hope everybody's doing well this morning. A lot of stuff on tap this morning. We want to get straight to it. Many of you know that Elon Musk, who's the Doge czar of sorts, has been going around department to department, giving people a chance to give an account for what they've done for the state and for the American people. The latest story is out of from the NPR, and it says federal workers are confused at the fact that they have to give an account for what they've done. Last week, a federal government-wide email asking employees, "What did you do last week?" plunged workers and agencies into a weekend of confusion and conflicting directives. Yeah, the billionaire White House advisor Elon Musk said failure to comply would be taken as a resignation. But some department officials told their employees they could hold off on responding. And I would assume that these are like Pentagon people or special ops people. But can you imagine this? We've got a lot of people who are very upset at the fact that they have to actually give an account for what they've done. And I don't know about you or me, but in every business I've ever been a part of, every job I've ever had, we've had to have reports. But it seems like federal employees they're kind of upset at the fact that they actually have to adhere to the same things that everyone else does. And I'm just kind of I don't know about you, but I'm kind of as many commentators have said over the last day or so, as this story has been ferreting out and it's been making its way through the blogosphere, this was a great opportunity for federal employees to say, you know what? Yes, I am doing work for the people of the United States, and guess what? As a matter of fact, I deserve a raise. Where they have the average salary of over $106,000, you would think that these folks, some of whom have not been at work for over 4 years, that they would be excited about saying, hey, yes, I'm doing something for the people of the United States, but many of them don't. And so this is a very, very scary place to be at indeed. Let's pivot really quickly, folks, to a story that is probably going to drive some of you crazy. And this story is about a pastor by the name of Jamal. What is Jamal's last name? Oh, gosh. Let me make sure we get this right. Jamal Bryant. Jamal Bryant, pastor of a mega church in Baltimore, was addressed his congregation. And I want to warn you folks now that this is very graphic, and it's very offensive. It's very racist, if I might say that. What happened is Jamal Bryant has aught with Trump supporters who are of color, black Trump supporters, who are out there exercising their free rights, as Frederick Douglass did, as Martin Luther King did, as most blacks did before 1960. He's upset that they voted for Donald Trump. And this is what Jamal Bryant said. Once again, I want you to be prepared for this, folks. Here we go.
I ain't ever scared. In case you forgot, I'm from the west side of Baltimore. If you got a problem, pull up on me. Go backwards and try to risk our freedom. I feel bad for them coons in the White House who are in there tap dancing for massa, wearing bow ties, shinning and grinding, laughing like nothing is funny. Get out of there, Negro, and stand with your people so that you understand that God is on our side. All these other churches might not say nothing, but at 6400 Woodrow, we right outside of Decatur where it's greater. You got to understand that there is more for us than there are against us.
Okay, I think we get the idea here, folks. Jamal Bryant, here, folks, Now, Christian American Magazine is all about getting Christians involved in the political process. It's really, that's what our main focus is to highlight those folks that are out there doing something that is going to benefit the kingdom of God in the political sphere. And there's so many people out there that are doing such great things. Black folks, white folks, Asian, Hispanic, all over the place. And Jamal Bryant seems to think that there's a problem now with black Americans siding with President Trump, who's arguably done more for the black community than any other president, save Abraham Lincoln. Literally save Abraham Lincoln. And so he takes his pulpit. Here's the thing about it. He took his pulpit and turned it into a political venue and then denigrated it by a tirade that probably in most circles would get him, people would raise their eyebrows and go, my gosh, I cannot believe that this guy has done this. And that's scary, folks. Not just scary, but it's scary that Jamal Bryant would do something like this. And so I think we need to take a moment and step back and say to ourselves as men and women of God, and I talk about politics all the time, folks. I really do. In my pulpit, I talk about politics. Not so much as you should vote for this person or vote for that person, but that you should actually test your leadership. But Jamal Bryant here personally attacked people of color because he believes that people of color should be voting for Democrats. And that's just crazy. As a matter of fact, the opposite should be true. See, I'm tougher on pastors in the black church than I am at anybody because a huge number of black voters who are in the church vote Democrat, even though the Democrats support abortion, transgenderism, wokeism, anything you can imagine that is non-Christian. That's what they support. That's what the Democrat Party supports. And so the black pastor, it behooves him to tell his people, don't support these people. Do not go anywhere near them. They're practicing modern day Baal worship. And that's the scary part about it. So we pray for Jamal Bryant and people of his ilk because they just don't get it yet. And hopefully they will. For those of you, this might be your first time you're checking this out. This is Christian American Magazine. I'm Pastor Sherman Ray. And we come to you at least, we try to come as many times as we can a week, folks. We're going to really try to do this as much as we can coming up later on and trying to make this more of a twice a week or so that we can bring the show into your airwaves. Our next story is out of, it's an NPR story, and this is about Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino, definitely a born-again believer, just got tapped to, guess what? To join the Trump administration as the FBI deputy director. Here's an NPR story, and it says the Trump administration's pick for FBI deputy director is Dan Bongino, a former U.S. Secret Service agent turned conservative commentator whose fiery support for President Trump, very cool, has earned him a massive following and seen him banned from YouTube for promoting misinformation. It's very interesting that NPR would actually put this on there. Bongino 50 hosts the Dan Bongino Show, a syndicated radio show and daily podcast that is ranked 7th most popular podcast in the USA in January, according to industry analysis PodTrack. Congratulations, Dan Bongino, for being able to get up there and do your thing. Many of you saw Dan Bongino. He was a Secret Service agent. He was on the President's Detail, or he was close to the President's Detail. Went on Fox News for a number of years, and then went into a private life, into the podcast. And now Kash Patel, who many of you know, Kash Patel was confirmed just a couple of days ago to head up the FBI, reached out to Dan Bongino and says, you know what, this is awesome. And here's the cool thing about this, folks. Another Christian in office. Yeah, you've got Pam Bondi, now you've got Kash Patel, and now you've got Dan Bongino. These folks are very strong believers, and we are so excited for them. This next story, folks, is probably one that many of you we're jumping up for joy about because somebody we all know and have listened to for many, many years just got the axe. Yeah, Joy Reid has just gotten the axe, folks. Let's play a little bit of Joy Reid because she didn't take this very well. Joy Reid, whose show called The Readout, was canceled by MSNBC, and here's what Joy Reid had to say in response to that.
My show had value, and that that what I was doing had value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV. And I say this is kind of like being on TV, so I apologize. And that it mattered. I see Karen is there, and she's been texting me as well. And so what I will just say is,
yeah, so Joy Reid, among the most racist commentators on TV. Many news programs bring on people to stir things up. Joy Reid was that person. They brought her on as a foil, as a female Al Sharpton, if I might say. And after several years of her being on, was she on CNN? Yeah, she was on CNN, I believe she was. After being on CNN for a couple of years, they finally gave her the axe, which is just great. We were so excited about this. They gave another great brother. As a matter of fact, he was actually another commentator. Can't remember the guy's name now, but he was on NBC also. And gosh, I got to remember the guy's name. But unfortunately, many people, and we don't take any joy of anybody losing their jobs by any stretch of the imagination. But what we do say is that she needed to go. There's absolutely no reason why Joy Reid was even on TV. Now, she said that she began her little crying session there, that her show had value, and that she felt it had value. It had no value, and it went on the ash pile of history, and so we're very excited about this. Another story that just came up was the president had a governor's meeting, and part of the governor's meeting, during the governor's meeting, the president stopped because he had all these governors in this small room, and he was talking to them, and he was talking about all the accomplishments that the Trump administration had. And he said something very interesting. He said, that he had signed a executive edict that basically said that Title IX was the law of the land, and that no more should boys be in sports with girls, that these men who are saying they're transgender females, whatever that might be, that they should not be in female sports. Women are being hurt. It's unfair. Men are so much stronger. Some men are much bigger. It doesn't matter if even a teenage boy is more stronger than most adult females. And so, but except for one governor, and he publicly outed her, and he said, "Well, where's the governor of Maine?" And her name is, what is her name? Gosh, this is just almost scary. Her name is Janet Miller, and Trump's and he clashed with her, and he said, "Well, where's the governor of Maine?" And he looked around the room. She said, "Here I am." And he says, "Well, are you going to comply with the executive order?" And she said, "I'm complying with federal and state laws." And he says, "Well, we are the federal laws on this, and you better comply with them." And she says, "Well, I will see you in court." Yeah. So you don't want to do that to Mr. Trump. You just don't want to do this. This man eats arguments, and he loves arguing with people. He loves getting in there, and he loves opposition because, and that's where he's at. And so right now, this is interesting, that of all of the states, Maine is now under investigation for violations of Title IX. That's right. Under investigation because of all the states, they're the only state right now that we can find so far that has said, guess what? We are not going to comply with the federal law. Now, here's the thing that we need to be very, very concerned with. Back in the 60s, we had certain states that, even though federal law had said that education had to be equal, they had to have equal access for blacks and whites, there were places down in Georgia, especially Birmingham, those places right there, who said, nope, we're not going to comply with those laws. And guess what? That's right. The feds had to come in and literally open up the schools. This is exactly what is going on with the governor of Maine. She's Bull Connor now. She's a modern day Bull Connor. And it is federal law now. Title IX is a federal law anyways. But now an executive order came down saying that you shall not allow boys to endanger the lives of girls in sports. And the mayor of Maine says, I'll see you in court. This is going to be great. So this is going to be great to find out what's going to happen here. There's a story out of the New York Post, and it says illegal border crossings hit record lows after Trump's swift crackdown and could be on track for levels not seen in 60 years. This is a great indication of what's going on. As a matter of fact, Tom Holman says that the levels that he's seen have rivaled those over the last 50 years. And now they're saying it's going to be in the last 60 years, those levels have gone down so long. And so down so far. Now here's the thing about it also, is that if illegal border crossings have diminished this much, which also means that illegal drug trafficking, sex trafficking, unaccompanied minors have dropped to historic levels. And this is great for America. So far, February, about 359 migrants per day have been caught crossing the entire southern border. 350 across the entire southern border, down more than 90% from February of 2024, according to this article from the New York Post. That puts the U.S. on track to have the lowest monthly border crossings in at least 25 years. In at least 25 years. If the trend continues, the number of illegal migrants coming into the U.S. could hit a level not seen since 1968. Nearly 60 years ago. This is just fantastic. It's a great way to that the United States is actually doing something to curb and to actually turn back what happened over the last 4 years with the Biden administration, where we saw 11,000 per day, and now it's down to 359. For those of you, this might be your first time checking out the show. I'm Pastor Sherman Ray, and this is Christian American Magazine. We hope that you're enjoying the broadcast right now. If you'd like to hear more of what we're doing, go ahead and write to us at christianamericanmagazine@gmail.com. That's christianamericanmagazine@gmail.com. Or you can check us out at christianamericanmagazine.com. That's christianamericanmagazine.com. And that'll take you right to our Godstream TV channel where we've got our shows at, and you can see some back shows that we've got there. We come on about once a week to talk to you about some of the cool things that are going on and focusing mainly on Christians in politics. What are Christians doing? How are Christians navigating the political landscape? And we hope that you're able to join us. This is an AP story, folks. The Supreme Court turns back challenges to laws keeping abortion opponents away from clinics and patients. This is very, very cool. The Supreme Court refused Monday to hear a pair of cases from abortion opponents who say laws limiting anti-abortion demonstrations or clinic violate their First Amendment rights. The majority did not explain their reasoning for turning down the appeals, as is typical, but two conservative justices, Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas, disagreed. This is a case where you've got people who are trying to educate, maybe even give people an alternative to killing babies. They call it abortion, but it's killing babies. Giving them an alternative to not killing babies. And there's been a law that was put on the books just a few years ago that says that it's illegal for you to even pray in those areas. Now, this is going to be an interesting case going forward. We hope that the Supreme Court and level heads are able to see the wrongness of these laws, and hopefully get people back on the right path and save as many babies as we can. See, in America right now, we've killed well over 75 million babies since the 1970s because of the when Roe v. Wade became the law of the land. And since it was turned over just about 4 years ago, we've seen a drastic decline in abortions. But now all of a sudden, abortion opponents or proponents have gone around those abortion state laws now, and they've just gone online and offering drugs. And once again, it's just a modern version of Baal worship. That's all it really is, just a modern version of Baal worship. And that is never good for a society. There was a story here. The Gateway Pundit had a story that we saw that was just horrifying, as a matter of fact. A shocking NSA transgender sex chat room legitimized as DEI uncovered. Yeah, employees caught talking about estrogen injections, getting zapped, many more disgusting topics. This was just disgusting. We're not going to go into a lot of detail on this, but what happened is that your government dollars, employees, while they're on work, on the dime, on time, working in places of like the National Security Administration or agency, the NSA, are talking about their transgender surgery, talking about getting their genitals zapped and their body parts manipulated. The shocking report has revealed that certain deep state employees are into some of the most disgusting things imaginable, the report says. Worse, they're sharing their sick desires, all on the taxpayers' dime. During the time they should be working, they're in chat rooms that are found on these government computers, talking about their... I think we'll go on. This is just ridiculous. We're running out of time here, folks. Just one more story we'd like to tell you about because it's just so egregious. This is a story out of ABC, and it's a Wisconsin governor. His name is Evers, Tony Evers. He's slammed for a proposal to replace mother, the term mother, with, of all things, inseminated person. Let that sink in. You're changing the term mother to a term that I don't know what that even means. An inseminated person. This is out of Wausau, Wisconsin. Governor Tony Evans is standing by state budget, which includes changing some of the gendered language in a section about artificial insemination. This is just ridiculous, folks. It includes changing the term mother into inseminated person or husband to spouse. Yes. Okay. So, I don't understand this. So, what are people who are so fixated on the term mother, pregnant, dad, mom? Why are they so fixated on this? You know, I got to tell you, this is really what it's all about. It is anti-Christ. It is because here's what the Bible says. The Bible is very clear about this. The Bible says that a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave unto his wife. They shall become one flesh. Okay, they shall become one. Okay, so we're talking about the second chapter of the Bible that says a man shall leave his father and his mother. Okay, but here in Wisconsin they're saying no, we're going to change it all the way to we're going to call it. So now you're not going to have a father, you're going to have a spouse. So a non-binary. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with this, Wisconsin? I got to tell you, this is the scary part about all of this stuff, folks, is that you've got people who are on the left of the aisle who are just wacky. They're I don't know any other way to put it, folks. It's not just crazy. It's wacky. It's anti-Christ. And there's got to be something that has got to be done about this, folks. We cannot allow people to continue this way and expect our nation to be blessed. So first thing we need to do is we need to pray about this. Begin to pray that these folks start to see the light, because nothing good can come of this, folks. Nothing good can come of this. And then secondly, if you've got a state representative that you can reach out to, begin to reach out to them. Reach out to them and talk to them about the importance of the family. Reach out to them and talk to them the importance of the sanctity of marriage and the sanctity of birth, because that's God's will for America. This has been Pastor Sherman Ray for Christian American Magazine. Thank you once again for being a part of the broadcast, folks. We will see you again tomorrow. Or no, we'll see you again Thursday for more of Christian American Magazine, folks. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.